Namaskar students. Hope you are hale and hearty, taking care of your health and your studies. My name is Jyotsna and I am from Education Department, Chandigarh. There are certain places with which certain things are associated. If I say Kufri, it will remind us of places with hills and snow covering those hills. If I'll say Assam, we will definitely think about the tea estates. Kerala will make us think about, I believe, the backwaters, the famous backwaters of Kerala. And if I say Goa, of course, the beaches. You know, when I say Badmer, Rajasthan, what does it remind you of? Yes, it reminds us of deserts. That's what is going to be this session about today. We are going to take up chapter number 9 from grade 7 book, Our Environment. The name of the chapter is Life in the Deserts. So, without wasting any time, let's get going. Desert is a barren area of landscape where little precipitation occurs and consequently living conditions are hostile for plant and animal life. The lack of vegetation exposes the unprotected surface of the ground to the processes of denudation. About 1/3 of the land surface of the world is arid or semi-arid. This includes much of the polar regions where little precipitation occurs and which are sometimes called polar deserts or cold deserts. Deserts can be classified by the amount of precipitation that falls, by the temperature that prevails, by the causes of desertification or by their geographical location. Deserts are formed by withering processes as large variation in temperature between day and night put strains on the rocks, which consequently break in pieces. Although rain seldom occurs in deserts, there are occasional downpours that can result in flash floods. Rain falling on hot rocks can cause them to shatter, and the resulting fragments and rubble strewn over the desert floor are further eroded by the wind. This picks up particles of sand and dust and wafts them aloft in the sand or dust storms. Wind-blown sand grains striking any solid object in their path can abrade the surface. Rocks are smoothed down and the wind sorts sand into uniform deposits. The grains end up as level sheets of sand or are piled high in billowing sand dunes. Other deserts are flat, stony plains where all the fine material has been blown away and the surface consists of mosaic of smooth stones. These areas are known as desert pavements, and little further erosion takes place. Other desert features include rock outcrops, exposed bedrock, and clays once deposited by flowing waters. Temporary lakes may form and salt pans may be left when water evaporates. There may be underground sources of water in the form of springs and seepages from aquifers. Where these are found, oases can occur. Plants and animals living in desert need special adaptation to survive in the harsh environment. Plants tend to be tough and wiry with small or no leaves, water-resistant cuticles, and often spines to deter herbivory. Some annual plants germinate, bloom, and die in the course of a few weeks after rainfall, while other long-lived plants survive for years and have deep root system able to tap underground moisture. Animals need to keep cool and find enough food and water to survive. Many are nocturnal and stay in the shade of underground during the heat of the day. They tend to be efficient at conserving water, extracting most of their needs from their food and concentrating their urine. Some animals remain in a state of dormancy for long periods, ready to become active again during the rare rainfall. They then reproduce rapidly. while conditions are favorable before returning to dormancy. People have struggled to live in deserts and the surrounding semi-arid lands for millennia. Nomads have moved their flocks and herds to wherever grazing is available, and oases have provided opportunities for a more settled way of life. The cultivation of semi-arid regions encourages erosion of soil and is one of the causes of increased desertification. Desert farming is possible with the aid of irrigation, and the Imperial Valley in California provides an example of how previously barren land can be made productive by the import of water from an outside source. Many trade routes have been forged across deserts, especially across the Sahara Desert, and traditionally were used by caravans of camels carrying salt, gold, ivory and other goods. Large number of slaves were also taken northwards across the Sahara. Some mineral extraction also takes place in deserts, and the uninterrupted sunlight gives potential for the capture of large quantities of solar energy. So in short, desert is an arid region characterized by extremely high or low temperatures and has scarce vegetation. Depending on the temperatures, there can be hot deserts or cold deserts. So let's take up the hot deserts first. Sahara. Sahara is the world's largest desert. It has an area of around 8.54 million square kilometers. The Sahara Desert touches 11 countries: Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, Tunisia and Western Sahara. In the Sahara Desert, there are gravel plains and elevated plateaus with bare rocky surface. These rocky surfaces may be more than 2,500 meters high at some places. Talking about the climate, Sahara Desert climate is extremely scorching hot and parched dry. It has a short rainy season. The sky is cloudless and clear. Here the moisture evaporates faster than it accumulates. The temperatures during the day may soar as high as 50 degrees Celsius, heating up the sand and the bare rocks, which in turn radiates heat, making everything around hot. The nights may be freezing cold with temperatures nearing 0 degrees. Flora and fauna. Plants face severe challenge in arid environments. So problems they need to solve include how to obtain enough water, how to avoid being eaten, and how to reproduce. Photosynthesis is the key to plant growth. It can only take place during the day as energy from the sun is required. But during the day, many deserts become very hot, opening stomata to allow in the carbon dioxide necessary for the process causes evapotranspiration, and conservation of water is a top priority for desert vegetation. So many desert plants have reduced the size of their leaves or abandoned them altogether. Cacti are desert specialists, and in most species the leaves have been dispensed with and the chlorophyll dispensed into the trunks, the cellular structure of which has been modified to allow them to store water. When rain falls, the water is rapidly absorbed by the shallow roots and retained to allow them to survive until the next downpour, which may be months or years away. So the Sahara Desert vegetation includes cactus, date palms and acacia. In some places there are oases, green islands with date palms surrounding them. Animals adapted to live in deserts are called xerocodes. There is no evidence that body temperature of mammals and birds is adaptive to different climates, either of great heat or cold. In fact, with a very few exceptions, their basal metabolic rate is determined by body size, irrespective of the climate in which they live. Many desert animals and plants, of course, show especially clear evolutionary adaptations for water conservation or heat tolerance, and so are often studied in comparative physiology, ecophysiology and evolutionary physiology. One well-studied example is the specialization of mammalian kidneys shown by desert inhabiting species. Camels, hyenas, jackals, foxes, scorpions, many varieties of snakes and lizards are the prominent animal species living there. People. So, the Sahara Desert has been inhabited by various groups of people who pursue different different activities. Among them are Bedouins and Tuaregs, who are nomadic tribes rearing livestock such as goats, sheep, camels and horses. These animals provide them with milk, hides from which they make leather for belts, sleepers, water bottles. Hair is used for mats, carpets, clothes and blankets. They wear heavy robes as protection against dust storms and hot winds. The oases in Sahara and the Nile Valley in Egypt supports settled population. Since water is available, the people grow date palms. Crops such as rice, wheat, barley and beans are also grown. Egyptian cotton, famous worldwide, is grown in Egypt. The discovery of oil is constantly transforming the Saharan desert. Other minerals found in area include iron, phosphorus, manganese and uranium. The cultural landscape of the Sahara is undergoing change. Gleaming glass-cased office buildings tower over mosques and superhighways crisscross the ancient camel paths. Trucks are replacing camels in the salt trade. Tuaregs are seen acting as guides to foreign tourists. More and more nomadic herdsmen are taking to city life, finding jobs in oil and gas operations. Let's have a quick recap now. On your screens, you can see a question followed by it are 4 options. You have to pick the correct option. So, which region is characterized by extremely high or low temperature and has scarce vegetation? Desert, fertile land, grassland, or none of these? Yes, it is the desert which is characterized by extremely high or low temperature and has scarce vegetation. Moving on, how many countries touch Sahara Desert? 11, 13, 16 or 20? Yes, there are total 11 countries which touch Sahara Desert. The maximum temperature of Sahara during daytime is about 50 degrees Celsius and at nights it is 0 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius or 40 degrees Celsius. Yes, at night it goes down to 0 degrees Celsius. Moving on, which of these trees is not found in Sahara Desert? Mango, date palm, acacia or all of these? Yes, it is mango which is not found in Sahara Desert. So after the hot desert, let's take up the cold desert. In India, the cold desert is Ladakh. So Ladakh is a cold desert lying in the Great Himalayas on the eastern side of Jammu and Kashmir. The Karakoram range in the north and the Zanskar mountains in the south enclose it. Several rivers flow through Ladakh and among them Indus being the most important. Several glaciers are found in Ladakh, for example Gangri Glacier. The altitude in Ladakh varies from about 3,000 meters in Kargil to more than 8,000 meters in Karakoram. Due to its high altitude, the climate remains extremely cold and dry. The air at this altitude is so thin that the heat of the sun can be felt intensely. The day temperature in summer are just above 0 degrees and the night temperatures well below -30 degrees. Ladakh lies in the rain shadow of the Himalayas, due to which it receives little rainfall, as low as 10 centimeters every year. The area experiences freezing winds and burning hot sunlight. Talking about the flora and fauna of this area, due to high aridity, the vegetation is sparse. There are scanty patches of grasses and shrubs for animals to graze. Groves of willows and poplars are seen in the valley. During the summers, fruit trees such as apples, apricots and walnut bloom. Robins, redstarts, Tibetan snowcock, raven and hoopoe are sighted in Ladakh. Some of these are migratory birds. The animals of Ladakh are wild goats, wild sheep, yak and special kinds of dogs. The animals are reared to provide for milk, meat and hides. Talking about the people in Ladakh, people of Ladakh are either Muslims or Buddhist. In fact, several Buddhist monasteries dot the Ladakhi landscape with the traditional gompas. Some famous monasteries are Hemis, Thikse, She and Lamairu. In the summer season, the people are busy cultivating barley, potatoes, peas, beans and turnip. The climate in winter month is so harsh that people keep themselves engaged in festivities and ceremonies. The women work not only in the house and fields but also manage small business and shops. Leh, the capital of Ladakh, is well connected both by road and air. From here, let's differentiate between the hot desert and the cold desert. First and foremost, both the places are dry, but the temperature varies in the two, as the name suggests. In the hot desert, the temperature is soaring high, and in the cold, it is pretty cold. Hot deserts are found in many tropical places of the world, while cold deserts are found towards the polar regions or on mountains. Precipitation is low in both biomes, but evaporation is much higher in the hot desert than in the cold desert. Cold desert experiences long winters and short summers, but there are no seasonal effects taking place in the hot deserts. Hot deserts feature the presence of reptiles and amphibians, but not in cold deserts. So, tourism is a major activity with several tourists streaming in from within India and abroad. Life of people is undergoing change due to modernization. The people of Ladakh over the centuries learned to live in balance and harmony with nature. Due to scarcity of resources like water and fuel, they are used with reverence and care. I hope today's session was fruitful for you. Let's try to analyze what you have extracted out of it. So on your screens you can find a question. Along with that there are 4 options. As always you have to pick the correct option. So let's start. What is the energy product in great demand throughout the world? Is it uranium, fats, manganese or oil? Yes, it is oil, which is in great demand all over the world. Which crop is famous in Egypt? Maize, wheat, cotton or none of these? Yes, it is actually the Egyptian cotton which is world famous. Moving on, what are 2 words by which Ladakh is made of? La and Dak, Lad and Hak, Lad and Ak, none of these. It's actually La and Dak, Ladakh. So what is the other name of Ladakh? Indus, Kargil, Khapachan or Karakoram? It is Khapachan. Which of the following birds are sighted in Ladakh? Robin, redstarts, raven or all of these? Yes, all these birds are sighted in Ladakh. Hemis in Ladakh is a famous monastery, church, temple or mosque. Hemis in Ladakh is a famous monastery. Alright, on your screens you can see 2 set of words in 2 different columns. So let's match the columns. Chiru, Arda, Shahtush, willow tree is used for cricket bat. Dras is the coldest place. Gangri is a glacier. Gompas is associated with Buddhist religion. Oasis, depression with water in deserts. Alright, let's fill some blanks now. Sahara Desert touches the boundaries of 11 countries. The people of Sahara wear heavy robes as a protection against dust storms and hot winds. Ladakh is enclosed by the Karakoram range in the north. Yak's milk is used to make butter and cheese. Leh is connected to Kashmir through Jozila Pass. Indus is the most important river of Ladakh. Now let's find out if the statements given are true or false. So vegetation of Sahara includes cactus, date palms. True. Area around oasis is infertile. It is false. Hair of sheep and goats are used to make woolens. True. Skeleton of fish have been found in Sahara Desert. True. Before we end today's video, I would just like to share a fact with you. Do you know the greatest desert which we know? Sahara. Around 7 million years ago, Sahara was an ocean. Yes, scientists have proved this thing, that due to movement in the tectonic plates in the Mediterranean Sea, the entire Saharan ocean dried up. Isn't that a fun fact? We'll be back with many more videos. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy and keep learning. Namaskar.